your stories. Local news that matters to you. ABC Action News starts now.
Hi there, sweetheart.
I'm like 215.
You're being very brave.
Yeah, you're being 5.
Yeah, very strong.
A young girl was bitten by a shark and she almost lost her hand. But now she's on the road to recovery and plans to get back in the water. Tonight at 5, her powerful story of survival and hope.
Plus, just one day after the Tampa Bay Rays confirmed they are in talks, advanced talks for a potential sale of the team, the city now moving forward with plans to redevelop that neighborhood around the Trop. We will break down the new study they're now launching and what it could mean for the future of the area.
Plus, plans to redevelop an iconic landmark on Treasure Island. What city leaders are saying about a proposal for the Thunderbird Resort.
Plus, Iran launching a deadly strike targeting civilians. Israel responding, hitting a nuclear facility today. And all new tonight, the U.S. military moves into position. Is this the final push for diplomacy or a countdown to conflict? The new developments unfolding right now.
And a heat dome covers much of the U.S., but wet weather is on the way for Tampa Bay. Meteorologist Greg D is tracking it all tonight.
First up here at 5, she was bitten by a shark and she lived to tell her story. Thanks for joining us here at 5. I'm Paul Legrome.
And I'm Lauren St. Germain. Tonight, the 9-year-old girl spoke about the terrifying moments when a shark bit her hand.
I pick up my hand and it's all in blood. Then I start screaming with my mom.
First responders and everyday people at the beach jumped into action to save the girl's life.
And that quick response made all the difference here. ABC Action News reporter Mary O'Connell listened to that girl today, her family, and the team of doctors who helped get her here today.
It's hard to imagine from her smiling face the unimaginable experience 9-year-old Leah Lendell has gone through.
The shark beat the arm for the little kid.
Just over a week ago, she and her family were enjoying a day at the beach in Boca Grande when a shark attacked.
I didn't see anything. I was just snorkeling. Then I went up to breathe. And then something hard bit me. And then and tried to take me away. Then I pick up my hand and it's all in blood.
Chilling moments captured on this body camera video.
You're being very brave.
Show the quick response on the ground from both Good Samaritans and first responders.
I noticed that it was her arm that was almost like falling off. So instantly I figured out that it was a shark in the water.
Crews airlifted Leah to Tampa General Hospital. Her team of doctors detailed her life-saving care, explaining time was everything.
By flying directly here and having the great care that they had in the ER here and then getting them immediately to the OR, we were able to revascularize the hand within 4.5 hours. So that is so much better for the tissues and the recovery and the future function of this hand.
X-rays showed the extent of the damage. The girl's hand nearly bitten off.
Children have a much greater chance of gaining sensibility to their hand, so sensation, and reinnervating the little muscles, the intrinsic muscles in the hand to get coordinated hand function. So we think that she should get all of that back, we're hoping, and we want to see what her wrist does.
Her recovery isn't over yet, but her parents praised the team surrounding their daughter with care.
I didn't think she's going to have a hand. It was really, really bad. It's some sort of miracle that God did in her life that now she has a hand.
As for Leah, she says she doesn't know how she stayed so brave, but she does plan to go in the water again. And to the people who helped her along the way, she would just say this.
Thank you.
In Tampa, Mary O'Connell, ABC Action News.
What a brave little girl. Shark attacks, by the way, they may grab the headlines, but experts do say they are extremely rare.
Yeah, we did some research. According to the Florida Museum, there were just 47 unprovoked shark bites across the world in 2024. 28 of them were in the U.S. and 14 were in Florida. That's below the recent average, and deadly attacks are even more uncommon. But if someone you know is bit, it's really important to act fast. During that news conference at TGH today, we listened to a doctor talk about applying a tourniquet.
It's really critical out in the field to kind of help us through those moments. We can't do anything if we lose that time in the field. And so you have the ability to really save a life. And so put something on there, try to stop that bleed as you can.
He says if the wound is elsewhere, apply direct pressure and hold it until help arrives. Knowing how to stop the bleed truly could save a life.
Well, we hope and pray for a full recovery for Leah there, as everything she's been through there, and that quick response certainly made a difference. But really a good thing to keep in mind, Greg D, as people enjoy our beautiful beaches. Live look here outside, people off for the Juneteenth holiday today. So, it looks like there could be some rain in the forecast. Am I wrong to say that?
No, Paul, that is a ton of rain. You are correct. Yeah. That is a wall of rain right now as you look south from the Rivergate Tower. Look at on the right side of your screen, the lowering there. A bit of a shelf cloud coming up on McDill and Ballast Point there in South Tampa. This right here, just a huge curtain of that rain just south of Davis Island as that continues to develop. Normal high temperature is 91. We got close to it today. There's another view of those dark skies looking from our studios back toward downtown, and you can see the rain has really started to develop just south of downtown Tampa. It actually stretches all the way from downtown St. Pete through southern Hillsborough County and into Polk. Nothing severe here, but if you were caught in any of this, it is really, really heavy stuff. Let me get you in here into southern Hillsborough, South Tampa, over towards St. Pete, really from the pier north, right across 275. You're picking up those heavier showers, additional showers across I-4, and then Polk County, too. Not a lot pushing this around. It's just sort of drifting all over the place. And I think our rain chances, they remain high for the rest of the evening. So grab an umbrella if you're heading out. Temperatures will fall back into the 70s. We've got a hurricane that made landfall today in the Pacific. We'll talk about that in your full forecast coming up.
A lot to talk about, Greg. Thank you. We move next here to a big story. Following tonight, the city of St. Petersburg, Pinellas County, teaming up to explore a new possibility for that historic gas plant site. They're launching a feasibility study to see if a convention center could work in that space where the trop is, looking at market size, economic impact. It all comes amid those lingering tensions over the Rays Stadium deal and years of broken promises to the community that once called the gas plant district home. The city says council members will review the study once those details are finalized. And meanwhile, this all comes as the Tampa Bay Rays could be on the verge of selling the team. Team officials, the front office, confirming they are in those advanced talks with a developer looking to buy the franchise, that developer based out of Jacksonville. No deal is final, but it adds even more uncertainty to the future of the gas plant site and the stadium project that is still very much in limbo.
We have an update now on plans to redevelop the iconic Thunderbird Resort on Treasure Island. Today, the city's Planning and Zoning Board approved a proposal to redevelop it. The storm surge from Hurricane Helene last year damaged the resort so badly it's been shut down since September. The owners say they want to demolish the existing Thunderbird and build a new Thunderbird Beach Resort. The proposal includes a 3-story structure over ground level parking with 106 hotel rooms, meeting space, and a pool area. And by the way, for those of you wondering about that iconic Thunderbird sign, the owners say they plan to keep it.
Now to the conflict in Israel tonight. An American rescue team on the ground in the Middle East working around the clock to evacuate U.S. citizens amid the rising tensions there. Brian Stern, the founder of Grable Rescue, tells us his teams are operating across Israel, Jordan, and Cyprus with more than 4,000 evacuation requests and counting. In partnership with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and the state's emergency management team, those flights and the buses are moving Americans out of harm's way.
It's not a political thing. It's not a military thing even. It's an American thing. And saving American lives is saving American lives. And Governor DeSantis is completely and totally aligned with us as far as that's the most important thing. That's why we're out here, is to save American lives.
Meanwhile, the operation called Olive Shield includes ground, air, and maritime evacuations. With tensions rising, the team says every hour matters.
And earlier today, the White House said President Trump will decide within the next 2 weeks whether to strike Iran.
Now, they said that the president is still holding out hope that negotiations could achieve U.S. and Israeli goals for Iran to shut down its nuclear weapons program.
This comes as Iran fired missiles into Israel today. ABC's Alex Perche has the latest from Washington.
President Trump today holding out hope for a diplomatic resolution to the nuclear crisis with Iran.
I have a message directly from the president, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks."
Briefed today in the Situation Room for the third straight day, sources tell ABC News the president has approved attack plans against Iran should military action be necessary.
Is he saying that if Iran does not come back to the negotiating table within the next 2 weeks, that the president will strike?
The president is saying that he will make a decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks. It's very clear and direct.
Sources also tell ABC News the president is getting briefed on specific weapons that potentially would be involved in any strike, and what military assets are also needed in the area to protect U.S. troops in the region. The U.S. military is pre-positioning aircraft carriers and strike groups in the region, and overnight evacuating American diplomats from Israel. And today, a barrage of Iranian missiles hitting targets inside of Israel, including this direct strike on a major hospital. The blast sent staff running for their lives. They evacuated patients just days ago.
This morning, we understood how lucky or how smart was this decision.
And in Tel Aviv, at least 240 people were injured when Iranian missiles hit a high-rise. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu incensed.
They're targeting civilians because they're a criminal regime. They're the arch-terrorists of the world.
The IDF responding today by striking dozens of sites in Iran, including a key nuclear reactor capable of producing low-grade plutonium. These satellite images showing the before and after.
And tomorrow in Geneva, representatives from France, Germany, and Britain will meet with Iran's foreign minister to try to find a diplomatic solution to the conflict. Alex Perchet, ABC News, Washington.
As we change our focus next here tonight, today is Juneteenth, a time to commemorate the end of slavery in the United States.
It is the oldest celebration of its kind, but the nation's youngest federal holiday. This is video of the Juneteenth parade in Milwaukee today. It's the city's 54th annual parade. But across the country, some celebrations were scaled back this year. Organizers say they're concerned about safety and growing resistance to diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Here in the Tampa Bay area, there are several Juneteenth celebrations planned for this weekend. As always, you can find all the local events in our Things to Do This Weekend article. Find it on the homepage of our website, abcactionnews.com.
Coming up next tonight at 5, what sent this massive fireball in the air in Texas last night that could be seen for miles?
And it's not our storm, but Hurricane Eric made landfall, the threat this system poses. Greg Dean will join us to talk about the unique nature of this storm and also a check of our local forecast. All that and more is coming up next.
You're watching ABC Action News, part of the Scripps News Group.
Back here at 5 with a dramatic video of the massive fireball here that lit up the sky over South Texas after a SpaceX rocket exploded during testing. The company says the Starship vehicle experienced a major anomaly, obviously, while on the test stand at its Starbase facility. Now, no one was injured, and SpaceX says there's no danger to nearby communities, but the blast sent a fiery mushroom cloud into air, visible for miles. The cause is still under investigation.
Wow, quite a sight there. All right, Hurricane Eric made landfall on the Pacific coast of Mexico. The Cat 3 storm slammed into Oaxaca this morning with sustained winds of 125 miles per hour. The worst of the wind did miss major resort areas, but did batter some small coastal villages. So we do want to bring in meteorologist Greg Dean now, because Greg, this is the earliest E-storm ever recorded in the Eastern Pacific. And you're telling us it could be the strongest one ever recorded this early.
So it's the strongest one to make landfall in Mexico, period, Pacific or Atlantic side, this early in the season. The previous record was mid-August 1989. There was a storm that made landfall on the Pacific side. Now, the Pacific season does start a couple of weeks earlier than our Atlantic season, but it has been busy out there, and I don't think we're done. I think there's going to be a couple more storms out there in the next couple of weeks.
We still have that Saharan dust.
It's saving us. It's amazing, right? I wonder if the folks in Mexico are wishing if that dust could just go a little farther west. Today, we've got rain and storms on the camera. We'll get to those here coming up. Let me show you what this looked like this morning. Eric was a Cat 4. It went through rapid intensification. The track forecasts were really good. The intensity forecast, horrible from all the models, including the new AI model from Google, which had it making landfall as a Category 2. We've got a long ways to go for intensity forecasting. It is a tropical storm now, somewhere near or just northeast of Acapulco. It's in the mountains here. Flash flooding is going to be the biggest threat, and it will weaken as it moves across Mexico towards the west-northwest. This thing is not getting into the Gulf, and I think that's important. But some of these clouds here over the southern Gulf, these are indirectly related to the moisture around Eric, and they're spreading up into South Texas. May be able to see them as the sun sets out across the west if the skies over us clear out. By the way, the rest of the Atlantic Basin, quiet. No development over the next 7 days, which is great news. I think that's going to take us right into the 4th of July. Look at the rain looking toward downtown. Actually, where is downtown? I can't see it. It should be right about there. It is pouring over downtown Tampa. Now, the storm's actually stretching from downtown St. Pete through the Tampa area, southern Hillsborough County, now working its way into northern Manatee, and now Polk, Hardy, DeSoto, and Highlands. Avon Park, look at the lightning around you right now. It is really coming down here up towards Lake Wales. Any kind of driving around 27 this evening, that's tough. Over towards Mango, Seffner, Brandon area, right over the mall, it is pouring down 41 toward Gibsonton, Riverview, the Alafaya, all the way back through Apollo Beach. Slow down out there. If you've got a choice to go south through Hillsborough County right now, I would choose 301 or 75 over 41 because 41 is the deepest into these storms. Additional little pop-ups up towards Oldsmar and Safety Harbor. There you see the rain out toward Bowling Green and near Zolfo Springs as well. So the next several hours, this just continues. The storms are bouncing around. There's nothing really pushing them in any one direction, but I do see the atmosphere eventually using up all the juice it's built up during the heat of the afternoon, and we should quiet down. So after 8 or 9 o'clock, I don't think we're going to see another round of storms rolling through like we've seen in the last couple of days. In fact, starting off Friday with maybe some coastal showers again, but most of us dry and temperatures into the 70s. As we go through the day on Friday, those upper 70s early, partly cloudy skies. Then just like today, I think the storms get started late morning to early afternoon. Coverage will again be high, maybe not quite as high as today, but it's going to be close. And remember, they never pop in the same place 2 days in a row, so I do think we'll kind of spread the love in terms of the rainfall tomorrow. But there you see them at noon, Hernando over towards Pasco and Hillsborough County, shifting east and then potentially maybe a couple more popping up during the afternoon. And I think we do it again on Saturday. Saturday starts dry, so as far as planning outdoor plans on Saturday, your morning is fine, but then look in the evening. Another round of storms rolling in from the east toward the coast. Out on the water, water temperature 88, northwest breezes tomorrow at the beaches. Early in the afternoon and late morning is going to be your best chance to see that pop-up shower or storm. 7-day forecast as we take you through that weekend. Rain chances actually lower on Sunday, and we could stay pretty dry for the start of next week. Lauren?
All right, thank you, Greg. Back-to-back champs and back-to-back trophy troubles. The Florida Panthers cracked the Stanley Cup just like the Lightning did after their big win. Why celebrating in Florida might be hazardous to hockey history.
Welcome back. Well, the Tampa Bay Sun, not the only ones bringing the slogan Champa Bay back to our area. 4 of the fastest USF sprinters in program history earning a national championship trophy of their own. And our Kevin Lewis slowed them down long enough to talk about what it means to rewrite the record books.
A&M and South Florida going to exchange together.
I felt that if Gabe was close, it was going to be very interesting. And he made it very interesting.
Understatement alert. Gabriel Maranta had plenty of ground to cover to give the Bulls a chance at a title. But the guy who handed him the baton knew it all along.
As soon as I gave him the stick, I knew it was how we would have won it, because I knew he was in a great shape. But just seeing it happening in real time, I'm like, whoa, like the moment is finally here. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, thank God.
Less than an hour earlier, Maranta was disqualified from the individual 400 meters, so he didn't have much time to clear his head.
It was a lot of emotions, like I said before that, and in the warm-up and everything, but I kind of just stopped thinking about myself, and I just thought about my teammates and what I have to do. I got to get a job done for them as well. It's not just about me, so I was just thinking of what I had to do to prepare and just get the job done at the end of the day.
Gabriel definitely got the job done, but his teammates wanted to do it even more for him.
We knew we had to go out there and give him something to go back home with, because like outside of the 400, like, that would have been his last shot. So we knew we had to actually come together and do exactly what we needed to do. I'm watching him the whole way around, and I'm like, catch him, and he actually went out there and he did it. So like, as I said, I always say to him, like, yeah, out of everybody, we were really proud of him because he actually deserved this a lot.
And here comes South Florida.
Going into the meet, I was just like, it's my last year, and I have to just go out with a bang. I got to give it my all.
Head coach Eric Jenkins knows wins like this continue to elevate his program as a consistent national contender.
I think they are continue to set the standard at which we want to compete at, and we hope that in years to come, there'll be people that are coming here and run faster than they did, and hopefully we'll get a few more national champions in the future.
I'm Kevin Lewis, ABC Action News.
So we now know the date and time for the Florida Panthers Victory Parade. It's this Sunday, June 22nd, starting at noon in Fort Lauderdale. The Panthers beat the Edmonton Oilers 5-1 in Game 6 of the final on Tuesday night. They are now the first back-to-back winners since our Lightning in 2020 and 2021. But it looks like the Panthers already celebrated perhaps a little too much, and it came at the expense of the trophy itself. What? You see the bowl there? It's cracked, and the bottom is dented. Come on. But let's be serious. This isn't the first time and likely won't be the last time this happened. You may remember the Lightning dropped the cup during the boat parade in 2021?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, the bowl of the cup was dented to the point it kind of looked flat. So don't worry, the cup was fixed then, and it will be this time as well. The Hockey Hall of Fame says the keepers of the cup will have it repaired before the Panthers celebration parade this weekend. But, I mean, have you seen the video on social of, like, the trophy everywhere? I am not surprised it's only one crack.
Yeah, but they should do what the Sun did and just sort of lightly dip the cup into the water. And
you want to tell them that?
Yeah, right, exactly.
We'll give you this trophy, but you got to be careful with it. Yeah. Oh, all right. ABC Action News at 5:30 is coming up next. Paul, what are you working on?
All right, coming up next in Pasco County, it's growing. You know, the landscape is changing fast, and tonight we're talking about the push to protect the trees before they're cleared away and replaced with pavement. What leaders are considering to keep the canopies in place as the community expands. Plus, 80% of single moms in Polk County cannot afford basic needs. Tonight, a local organization is building more than homes. How this program is changing lives and giving more moms the tools to build a future. We'll spotlight it next. Right now at 5:30, the scorching heat and a new warning from the National Weather Service. A new tool is helping you track the dangerous temperatures before they turn deadly. Greg D is in the Weather Center with the very latest heat risk forecast and a look at the storms brewing on the horizon. Plus, while the temperatures climb, tree canopies are disappearing. Tonight, what Pasco County is doing to preserve green cover before it's gone for good.
There's something about all the trees they're taking down that hurts your soul.
And how does the world see America right now? A new Pew survey shows a dip in global perception, why some countries are turning away from the U.S., and what's driving the shift.
This whole survey is really, in some ways, about the United States' soft power and where we stand in terms of being able to persuade countries to do the things that we want them to do.
Plus, a new home and a new hope. We're hearing from a single mom in Polk County as a faith-based group builds a safe space for her and others who are starting over.
Be able to afford the stability that I once had many years ago.
You'll see her story soon. Good evening, everyone. Welcome in here to ABC Action News at 5:30. I'm Paul Agrone. All of those stories in a few moments. But first, here's what's making headlines and news tonight. Florida's Attorney General James Uckmeyer now pushing a plan to build what he calls Alligator Alcatraz. His words, turning a former Everglades airstrip into a temporary deportation site. The Attorney General posting what looked like a campaign video on X today in which he essentially is pitching the idea of building a prison to house illegal immigrants surrounded by swamps, gators, and pythons. State leaders are claiming this could be built in 30 to 60 days. The White House today says President Trump will decide within 2 weeks whether or not to strike Iran. It comes after a massive missile barrage from Iran hit Israel, including a direct strike on a hospital and damage to a high-rise in Tel Aviv. The United States has evacuated diplomats from Israel and is now moving aircraft carriers into position as Israel launches retaliatory strikes on Iranian targets. And after 6 days of searching the Gulf, the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office now suspending its active search efforts to find 10-year-old Trinity Esslinger. Trinity was last seen in the water near Destin's East Pass on the Panhandle on June 12th. More than 40 dives were conducted, covering 250 square miles by air, land, and sea. And deputies say their hearts are heavy today and they will continue to follow up on any new leads. We will keep you posted on that situation. Also, a major heat wave now blanketing the eastern half of the United States. Right now, the National Weather Service says more than 15 million people from Washington, D.C. down here to Florida dealing with a level 3 or 4 major heat risk through Thursday. Many places will deal with temperatures in the low to mid 90s. Added the humidity, in some areas could expect heat index ratings of triple digits. So with that, we bring in meteorologist Greg D in here tonight. The National Weather Service coming out with this new heat risk tool here as we zoom in to our location of the country down here in Florida. And Greg, you see mostly orange there, some pockets of red. I do know that, you know, right now most native Floridians would consider this to be pretty typical. But as you get inland and it starts to heat up, out in Polk County, Plant City, we always see sort of pops up in the mid 90s or higher. It gets really, it can be dangerous for people who aren't used to this.
It can, and you'll actually see this, Paul, that as we go into the weekend up to the north and the Great Lakes, so you're going to see a lot of purples. And the reason is part of the way they draw this map is they look at, is the heat unusual for this area? For us, all right, June, July, right. This is what we expect, right? It's dangerous, but we expect it. We know how to deal with it. For places like Chicago this weekend, where the temperature at night may not fall out of the 80s, wow, that is a real concern because people don't have air conditioning. Yeah. They don't have that receiver. Yeah, it's a heat dome that forms over the city. So that's something we'll be watching as we also get afternoon storms. And this is what saves us many evenings. Yes, it got into the 90s today. The heat index was in the triple digits. But not now. We're getting a break. You get a chance to maybe even crack a window or walk outside and cool off a little bit. Of course, most of us also have air conditioning. So you see the beginnings of it here. These advisories from Denver into Minnesota, the beginnings of what the National Weather Service will fill in here over the next several days. Heat advisories that will spread toward the Great Lakes. And I think the peak of this is going to be St. Louis up towards Toronto as we head into the weekend. Feels like temperatures for us. How about this? The triple digits well down to the south. Most of us in the 80s, 90s, even some 70s. And the reason is this, the rain that is falling outside right now. This is a look toward downtown from our studio. 82 degrees right now at TPA. With the storms now lining up, southern Hillsborough County, Polk County, back over the Courtney Campbell to Howard Franklin. The bridges are a mess right now. So is 27 through Highlands County. And if you're heading out this evening, grab an umbrella. You're going to see these scattered showers through at least 8 or 9. We'll take a look at the rain chances in the 7 day as we head into the weekend. Coming up, Paul.
Greg, thank you. Going back to the heat here for a second as the temperatures are climbing. Trees, one of our best defenses against extreme temperatures. And now Pasco County leaders are looking at new ways to preserve the canopy of trees and the shade they provide. Eric Waxler lives in and reports on Pasco County every day, and he knows firsthand how the population growth there has really impacted that area. And tonight, Eric is listening to environmentalists who are working to protect canopies and forests.
Sasha Martunet tries not to miss a meeting when it involves protecting Pasco County's environment. Preserving the trees is among the many concerns on her list.
The tree situation is really tragic in Pasco County. Many people move here because of the beauty and aesthetics.
Pasco has grown in the last decade with thousands of new homes and other developments, but that process also involves the practice known as clear cutting, where a landscape is completely devoid of standing trees.
Clear cutting does not replace an ecosystem. An ecosystem is centuries and centuries old. Way that the environment supports not just humans, we're not the only species, but life.
Pasco's Planning Commission is looking at updating the almost 20-year-old ordinance in place to preserve trees. Under current rules, developers can remove trees at a cost, but some say it's not enough to discourage them from doing it.
There's something about all the trees they're taking down that hurts your soul.
Nancy Hazelwood lives in East Pasco and is worried her surroundings will soon disappear.
I see it coming towards Blanton and northeast rural Pasco like a steamroller. It has not hit us yet.
The Planning Commission is looking at increasing fees for tree removal and creating incentives for developers to preserve trees.
Strip malls and car washes and things like that. It's just some of the developments, and I'm not going to name any names, but some of them are just really ugly.
Advocates say along with the aesthetics, tree canopies also regulate temperature and improve air and water quality. In Newport Richey, I'm Pasco County reporter Eric Waxler, ABC Action News.
And Eric Waxler is dedicated, Pasco County reporter for us. He is dedicated to covering stories important to the people who live in that county. He lives there, and that includes issues that comes along with population growth and development. So if you want to reach out to Eric directly, just scan the QR code on your screen or go to abcactionnews.com/your voice. Well, fresh from the G7 summit, where allied democracies met with global leaders to discuss economic policies, new polling shows an increased number of people in other countries have increasingly low confidence in President Trump and his administration. Katie Tubman tonight with the Scripps News Group looking into what that potentially means for international relations.
More than half of the people in key U.S. allied countries have no confidence in President Trump's leadership in world affairs. That's from polling that looked at how the U.S. is perceived on policy, personality, and leadership.
This whole survey is really, in some ways, about the United States' soft power and where we stand in terms of being able to persuade countries to do the things that we want them to do. So that's why it's relevant.
The global survey from Pew Research Center found allies like France, the UK, South Korea, and Japan have at least a 60% no confidence level. People in neighboring Canada, Mexico, and allied Sweden have higher no confidence opinions. It's not just world affairs. When it comes to economic power, the survey shows China outranks the U.S. compared to responses in 2023.
The statistics are one thing. We know who the biggest economy is. It's the United States. But in terms of, where the future is, there's real competition between the two countries.
And most people describe Trump as arrogant and dangerous.
And even among people who don't like what Trump is doing and don't like his personality, still perceive of him as being a strong leader.
Ratings of the U.S. improved since last year under President Biden in Israel, Nigeria, and Turkey. And unsurprisingly, U.S. perception was favorable with populists in Europe.
Yeah, even the most isolationist person has to acknowledge that the United States physically cannot separate itself from the world. The oceans aren't as effective as they used to be at keeping us away from what goes on the rest of the planet that we share.
In response to the survey, the White House said President Trump's priority is to work on behalf of the American people and noted his America First agenda. When it comes to his favorability in the U.S., President Trump has a 42% approval rating, according to a June Reuters Ipsos poll. That rating remained unchanged from a prior poll in May. Katie Tubman, Scripps News Group, New York.
Up next here tonight, she's doing everything she can to give her children a better life. And tonight we'll talk about a new program giving single moms in Polk County a chance to start over with housing, support, and hope. And tonight we're amplifying their voice, the voice of a mother who's turning struggle into strength. Plus, a girl from Lakeland with a dream and a coffee shop that just made national news. The story that is brewing on Good Morning America and the mom who inspired it all.
They literally were searching America. They were searching Instagrams, Facebooks, and they saw our story and they loved it and they reached out. Thought that was pretty cool.
Welcome back, covering Polk County and a faith-based nonprofit in Lakeland expanding its efforts to empower single moms who are struggling. ABC Action News Polk County reporter Rebecca Petit has a conversation with a mom who's receiving support to get back on her feet.
There's a little elephant in front.
In May 2024, Natalie Garcia was facing a lot of uncertainty. She was pregnant with her second child and had just been evicted with nowhere to go.
I got into an accident when I was 6 months pregnant of my son, and not being able to work, the bills weren't getting paid. And so therefore I got evicted.
Garcia was living in a homeless shelter when she learned about the nonprofit One More Child and their single moms program. Garcia tells me she's on her way to becoming self-sufficient and providing for her children.
Learning how to do everything on my own with my two children. We did several classes to do credit repair, how to manage your money, different types of budgeting skills.
As part of the residential single moms program, mothers in crisis live on campus with their children for up to a year. The nonprofit covers their living expenses while providing mentoring and training to help single mom families thrive.
Here in Polk County, 80% of single parent homes lack the income to provide for basic needs for their family. The vast majority of single parent homes are single moms. And so we feel called to step into the gap and to help these single mothers gain their footing.
Currently, the Lakeland campus has 20 homes. Construction is now underway on 6 new homes to provide more moms housing and support as they work towards long-term independence. One More Child CEO Stephen Robert tells me that since 1960, the number of single-parent households has nearly tripled across the country.
Our plans with this particular project is to be able to serve in the next 5 years an additional 300 mothers and children through our expansion efforts.
The expansion also includes the grounds for Grace Center, which will be a hub for all services and include an activity center where families can gather.
This is Kason, and this is Namari.
Though Garcia tells me she's a work in progress, she's excited about the future.
Be able to afford the stability that I once had many years ago. I want to be able to provide a roof over my kid's head and not have to worry about losing our shelter again, making sure there's food on the table, clothes on their back.
The new homes will be ready for moms to move in early next year, all with the ultimate goal of empowering families to thrive. I'm Polk County reporter Rebecca Petit, ABC Action News.
Rebecca, thank you for that story. Let's switch it over to Florida's most accurate forecast meteorologist Greg D here with us tonight. We talked about those inland communities that get so hot so fast in the summertime, but we do have Mother Nature's AC system with the rain cooling us down.
And, you know, and it's on an evening like this, Paul. I mean, you look at outside, you know, just an hour ago, it was in the 90s. It felt like it was in the triple digits. But now the heat index is in the upper 70s, and that's where the temperature is downtown. As you get some sheets of rain, your AC gets a break to go outside after the rain and actually enjoy a nice little walk around the neighborhood and not feel like it's a total sweat bath out there. And that's the difference between what's happening here every day during the summer and the heat wave that we'll experience up across the Midwest as we head into the weekend. So on the radar right now, notice every time I show you this, the pattern's a little different, right? They're always shifting. Right now, the heaviest thunderstorm right there on the bay. So this is going to be Oldsmar through Town and Country, right across the Courtney Campbell, the Howard Franklin. Just as you pass the Kennedy exit there, heading south, it is really, really heavy all across the bridge. You know, anyone driving across the Howard Franklin the next 30 minutes, it's going to take them about twice as long as it typically does to get across. And then you go into St. Pete, and there is a ton of lightning with this. South of the Gandy, all the way through 4th Street North, down into Shore Acres, downtown, the Grand Central District, into South St. Pete. Really, really storming out there with a lot of lightning and heavy rain. Lighter rains back now into eastern and southern Hillsborough County, Mango, Seffner, Dover, Brandon area. Solid moderate rain. Nothing severe here, of course, but this is just such a heavily traveled stretch of I-4 from Polk City through 27 up into Osceola and Orange counties through Kissimmee, Celebration. That's going to be a slow drive in and out of Orlando. Northern Manatee County picking up some rain north of the river, and then look at Highlands County. This is really where the worst of it is. From Avon Park through Sebring and Lake Placid, there is just a ton of lightning here. This is, in just this small view, 332 lightning strikes in just the last 30 minutes. This will wind down so that I think after 7 or 8 o'clock, we'll start to see the coverage wane and temperatures for all of us down into the 70s with partly to mostly cloudy skies. Tomorrow we'll start off in those 70s, maybe a couple of showers near the coast, then more scattered storms. I think coverage very similar to what we saw today, winding down by the late afternoon and evening. And temperatures upper 80s to low 90s, not going to get excessively hot because of that rain. In Tampa, again, just like today, the highest rain chances for your Friday will be midday to the early afternoon. So let's go through Friday, hour by hour, starting off in the morning. Again, a couple of coastal showers there. Allie will be tracking those. Then late morning into the early afternoon, sea breeze gets going. Those start pushing in just like today. Coverage maybe about 10% lower than yesterday. Futurecast has the storms making their way a little farther east tomorrow and maybe not much of a return to those storms back toward the coast. Getting out on the water, watch for those coastal showers early. Northwest winds, that's a change, 5 to 10 knots, 2-foot seas out over the Gulf waters. At the beaches, late morning to early afternoon, there's a window for a couple of pop-up showers, and then early in the morning near the coast. Again, beach walkers, check the radar before you head out. There may be some showers nearby. I do think the rain coverage trends down as we head into the weekend, with Sunday and Monday looking quite dry as the rain chances drop to 20%. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Well, Good Morning America took a trip off the beaten path today to spotlight the local shops that keep communities going. And one of their stops, well, right here in Tampa Bay. Patrice Williams owns Amity Joe's Coffee and Delights in Lakeland. She was featured in GMA's What Fills Your Cup series this morning, highlighting small coffee shops across the country. And while her blends are locally roasted, it's her story that truly is rich.
It is a small town, small county, but there are big dreamers like me here. People who want to, see their dreams come true. The community supports it. So it's really a good place for business, but I hope I put them on the map. I mean, I don't know. I'm just a girl from Lakeland now.
Well, the segment aired on GMA this morning. Patrice says that she is sharing this moment for her customers, her community, and for her mom, Amoni Joseph, who inspired it all. Congratulations to her. Well, next up here at 6, we are digging into the possible buyer of the Tampa Bay Rays based out of Jacksonville. What we're finding out about the group's business here in the Tampa Bay area and getting Americans out of harm's way in the Middle East. Next up at 6, we're going to talk with a local organization with boots on the ground there.
Post captioning is sponsored by Dimmitt Automotive Group, serving Florida's Gulf Coast for over 100 years.